potheads? I'm Henry, and this is Blaze the Roof. I know it's been a crazy start to 2021, but let's try to do our best moving forward here. This week we're going to review a sauce out of Edmonds, Washington, which is south of Seattle, named SeaFire Gourmet Reaper Sauce. A little bit about SeaFire Gourmet. It used to be called Dave's Foods, which was started by their founder, Dave Ritterbush, who has a lifelong passion for all things spicy, and that's how he got into the game. This comes out of Edmonds, Washington, which is in the Seattle metro area. It's actually south of Seattle on the on Puget Sound. So, famous people from Edmonds include Ryan Couture, son of UFC Hall of Famer Randy Couture, who's been known to put a person or two in a headlock. Ken Jennings, known as one of the most winningest champions on Jeopardy, who basically put a headlock on the show itself. The metaphoric one, obviously, right? And Jay Park, who's a rapper, singer, dancer, choreographer. We refer to that as the quadruple threat. So, now let's look at the packaging here. So first things first, the paper itself is like it's actually like, or the label itself is actually paper instead of like a sticker or plastic. This almost seems like so I got stickers a while back for my band, and they were like of this quality. I'm not saying this is poorer quality or whatever. Maybe it's just designed for the more matted look. Because the logo has a matted design. It doesn't necessarily pop. It's white on black, or an off-white on black. The SeaFire logo is pretty cool, right? It is essentially block lettering, but kind of curvy. And then the Reaper sauce itself, that logo is pretty neat. All in all, a really cool bottle, right? The motif is darker colors, and you have the logo and the artistry on white. Very cool. Let's look at the ingredients now. The ingredients include white wine vinegar, Carolina Reaper peppers, chipotle peppers, balsamic vinegar, shallots, garlic, honey, brown sugar, Mediterranean sea salt, and vitamin C. The ingredient I want to talk about is shallots, or as Gordon Ramsay pronounced them, shallots. Essentially, they are elongated onions that have been... it's like an onion and a garlic kind of like merged together, because a lot of times the shallot will be like two cloves in one, or something, or even multiple, right? And people have described the taste as being a combination between an onion and garlic, right? I personally like cooking with them. They're a little bit more expensive, so I'll tend to go with more like the white onion for most stuff. But whenever I made the au poivre sauce, I use shallots, and they're just really great to cook with. Like they just have a really good characteristic and taste to it. So they do have thinner peels. They have less water content, but they could still bring tears like onions when you cut the root, right? They do have more proteins, fiber, and micronutrients than onions, so they are a little bit more nutritious, hence they're a little bit more expensive, right? So, before we get any further, let's hear from this week's sponsor.
Hello, my name is Rick Longdong, and I'm here to talk to you about the new Pan-Asian bistro, the Flaming Wok. Our decor is vibrant, bordering on theatrical. We have dishes such as our soups like the cream tom yum gai. Our poo-poo platter won't leave a bad taste in your mouth. And we know our way around a prick king. We take pride in our food. So come out and have a happy time at the Flaming Wok.
Now for the moment of truth. So this one clocks in at 72,000, which should probably put it in middleweight. It is a Reaper sauce, so I don't know. It is Reaper with chipotle, and as you know, chipotle is just smoked jalapeno, so that might mute it a bit. It's not a pure Reaper sauce. It does smell really good. It's probably a combination of the vinegar, the peppers, maybe the shallots as well. But all right, let's see how it looks here. So this is definitely a darker red, which is probably more chipotle than anything, because again, like chipotle tends to be a little bit darker red once it's smoked, brownish. So kind of curious if they also smoked the Reaper as well. But all right, I'm gonna be trying to taste the shallots. I'm gonna see how much of the fruitiness of the Reaper I could taste, and maybe a little bit of smokiness as well. Here we go. So the burn didn't really hit until I swallowed. So I'm getting burn on the back of the tongue, in the back of the throat. It's flavorful. I could definitely taste like garlic, shallots, a slight bit of the vinegar, a little bit of sweetness from the honey. It's a good sauce. It's very flavorful, very tasty. Again, you get a little bit of smokiness of the chipotle, but the burn characteristic is definitely that of Reaper. I would say this is still a middleweight, although it's up there. But I think it is more of a middleweight, because it's less of a burn in the tongue, in the mouth. It didn't really hit until I actually swallowed it. Again, the vinegar and the sweetness, like you get the honey and the brown sugar in there, that probably cuts it a little bit. Don't get me wrong, it still packs a punch. This is very flavorful. So it's not sweet to the point where I wouldn't use this on like beef dishes or anything like that, right? It's just got a touch of the sweetness, got a touch of garlic and the shallots, just a touch of vinegar. So I think it's a really well balanced flavor. And again, the burn isn't insane, and once you put this on food, it's going to mute it, right? Sweating a little bit, so it does pack a little bit of a punch, right? Compared to other sauces that are like 72,000 SHUs, might be a little bit more impactful, but it's a good sauce nonetheless. All right, what would I use this on? I think the flavor profile lends itself well to all types of meat dishes. Might be a little heavy for like breakfast, or it doesn't quite have the flavor I think that I would use for breakfast, unless, you know, we're talking like chilaquiles or something like that. If you really want to kick up your like enchilada sauce, I think it might be good to throw this in there. So if you have like chilaquiles or enchiladas that you want to make, sometimes those peppers are more for flavor as opposed to heat. If you want to add a little bit more heat, might be a good way to go. Might be a good way to thicken up the sauce too, if you make it a little too watery, which you shouldn't, but I mean, you know, it happens. All right, but again, right, it lends itself to, I could see using this on chicken, on pork, on even beef dishes. You know, pork ribs, beef ribs. I think it's neutral enough to where you could use it in even in soups, right? What I would avoid though is, again, anything like too ethnocentric, such as like Indian food. It wouldn't go well with, like, I don't think it would go well with Indian food. Again, is spicy enough, and again, if you're gonna use a hot sauce with it, get one that has a little bit more of the spices that are used in there, just so there's not a clash, right? Indian food isn't necessarily known to be spicy except for the dishes that use tamarind. So what else? Did I say spicy? I meant sweet. What else here? Yeah, I mean, if you were doing vegetarian, vegan, I think it would go well with any vegetable medley. But, you know, if you're going to go veggies, less of your leafy green stuff and a little bit more of the heartier stuff like eggplants or mushrooms. Definitely, like, if you do portobello, yeah, I would say use this on that. I think that'd be really good. Because, again, portobellos have a little bit more of an earthier taste. Not quite a substitute for beef, but, you know, pretty good substitute nonetheless. Yeah, excellent sauce. All right. Yeah, I would really give this one a thumbs up, and if you're thinking about trying it out, give it a shot. Right. It's out of the Pacific Northwest. Well balanced. I'd be careful with it, but again, like, it's not too much heat to deal with. So, excellent. So next week will be our 69th episode. There's a joke there somewhere. Anyway, we will be reviewing sauce out of Illinois, which is Gindo's Parmesan truffle sauce. So with us reviewing Washington this week, that made it the 21st state. Illinois will be the 22nd state reviewed. So, all right. Well, once again, I'm Henry, and remember, spice up your life. Take care.